Hello and welcome to the Kanawha Valley Hustlers. This is Joe Justice. I'm here with Tara. Tara, tell me, what's your hustle?
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me today. My hustle is small business owner here in Charleston, West Virginia. I work mainly in West Virginia, but have also partnered with a large corporation or a larger firm to do business in workforce development issues, fractional executive work, and helping nonprofits with grant writing and management.
Now, what is it that got you into doing that? What kind of problems are you trying to solve?
Well, especially whenever it comes to workforce development, I have worked for nonprofits that see a population in West Virginia not able to find their hustle and not able to really coordinate how to get away from subsidies and find the exact life that they'd like to have and be successful and be self-sufficient. So seeing that in nonprofit work and really wanting to give folks access to viable jobs, well-paying jobs, and something that they could really throw their lives into and throw themselves into.
Are there unique challenges that nonprofits face versus for-profit businesses?
I think that they're really the same. It's just finding that talent pool and finding individuals that really want to connect and do the work that a nonprofit or even a corporate entity would want out of an employee.
Now, you mentioned workforce development. Are there any kind of unique challenges here in the Appalachian region when it comes to workforce development right now?
My goodness, there are a number of them, but historically the biggest challenges that we have are childcare for women looking to get back into the workforce, but also we are looking at transportation. Here in Charleston, we have a decent transportation system, but when you get into the rural areas or get into places around the outskirts of Charleston, getting to and from even Putnam County, that's a big challenge for folks.
I spoke with somebody recently that was looking for some help with something, and he was used to dealing with people in bigger cities, and he asked me, well, would you be willing to travel outside of Charleston? And it was like, in West Virginia, you can't really do anything if you're not able to travel, right?
That's exactly right. Our topography is not very generous to folks that have to walk or only have transportation via Uber or bicycle. It can get costly whenever you have to turn to those as alternatives.
So tell me, what are are there any common misconceptions that people have about nonprofits that you could address?
So nonprofit work has been something that I've always really enjoyed, and the thing that I would really love to talk to people about whenever they're considering giving to nonprofits, it costs money. Nonprofit doesn't mean free, right? Exactly. Nonprofit doesn't mean that you don't make money. It means...
help clarify that a little bit. What does it mean to be a non... I think a lot of people do think that. Like, they think nonprofits don't need money, right?
Absolutely. Nonprofits still need individuals to work, someone to lead them, folks that are on the line level doing that hard work, a lot of times serving folks that... are disproportionately left out of other systems, and what it costs to run a nonprofit really needs reinvestment dollars. So folks, I think, misunderstand for-profits mean that they have a revenue base that they can, that's the money they get to take home. That's their cheddar. But whenever you have a nonprofit, you have to reinvest that money that is your above what it costs you. You have to reinvest that in your entity, in your nonprofit, to make sure that it runs efficiently and so that you can help more individuals with the mission that you're trying to serve.
So when you first got into this type of work, tell me, what was a mistake that you made and what did you learn from it?
Oh gosh, so I was predominantly in state government most of my career, and Joe, I'll tell you, it is so different whenever you're working in state government and going into the nonprofit world. In state government, you really have so many rules and regulations. I was a little bit inflexible, and I think whenever you're working in a nonprofit, you have your baseline, you have your SWOT analysis that you do, but you have to be able to adjust quickly. Unlike, in state government, it takes a long time to get through purchasing even, or any kind of activity. But in nonprofit, you have to be very nimble, and that was a learning curve for me.
Now, you mentioned a SWOT analysis. Some people might not know what that is. What is a SWOT analysis?
A SWOT analysis is...
Which, by the way, they're good for nonprofits and for for-profit businesses, right?
So that is an overview of your structure that helps you get a strategy together as far as what your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats, and making sure that you are creating the best strategy for your nonprofit or business to be successful.
And being nimble, you mentioned being nimble. I think that applies to just about everybody in entrepreneurship and in nonprofits. And it is a lot different than people that might be used to like government agencies and things like that, right?
Oh, definitely. I know whenever I started at the Center on Budget and Policy, coming from being the director at the Women's Commission, under DHHR, man, we moved quick. And whenever you are in a nonprofit and you have to move quickly and you don't have to go through those 8 rungs of bureaucracy, it's a different world.
All right, so some real quick rapid fire questions.
Okay, great.
What's one skill every entrepreneur should be working on today in 2026?
Looking at how to build your business platform and understanding accounting.
What's a skill that you're working on now to help nonprofits?
Something that I'm working on right now is how to do things like this, interviews and being on social media more. That is something that's so important that I feel like folks have been doing it for a long time, and I'm an old dog, so I'm learning new tricks.
Well, we're all old dogs in what we're used to, right?
Absolutely.
What's the best $100 you ever spent for your business?
AI programming.
Oh, there we go.
AI has been a lifesaver in just helping to keep me on track. When you have as many different client bases that I do, keeping me on schedule, keeping me connected to everyone, and keeping me above the curve whenever it comes to new information coming out on the topics that I work on.
And then what was the biggest waste of money, and when did you figure out it's time to cut bait on that?
I haven't hit that yet, but I am probably, I will say business cards. That's my biggest one.
They don't go quite as far as they used to, right?
No, they don't.
Well, I would be remiss if we didn't touch on the fact that you're taking a new step into the world of politics, right? What's that experience been like with you so far?
It has been, I've lived in Charleston roughly 30 years, and I tell you, it's been very, I don't want to say busy because it's not just been a waste of time. It's been a very fulfilling, exhausting, but enlightening experience to learn what citizens, what everyone in our district, in our state, in our county really want and need here in Charleston. And learning that has helped me form a platform that I feel very confident about.
Right. And then last question as we're kind of wrapping up here. What is one principle, one belief, something that you stand by even when everyone tells you, Tara, you're wrong?
I believe face-to-face is the biggest asset that you can have whenever you're dealing with nonprofit business. Making a telephone call instead of texting someone, meeting someone in person for coffee instead of doing a Zoom and being virtual. We lost that connectivity during COVID especially, and I think that getting back in touch with our people, everyone you work with, your neighbors, that has been something that I will never give up.
Things are starting to change in a good way, I think.
Yes, I think so.
Tara, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
You can reach me online. You can reach me via email at marcotllc1@gmail. You can give me a call at 304-549-6987.
Great. Thank you so much, Tara, for being with me here today. Thank you for watching and listening. This is Joe Justice, the Kanawha Valley Hustler, reminding you to hustle hard, hustle smart, and hustle with a smile.